If you live in Utah, you are probably wondering, where on earth do you find affordable homes? Because over the last 2, 5, 10 years, homes have become much less affordable in Utah. Salt Lake City in particular has seen huge increases in prices. In my last video, I talked about how prices are up more than 70% over the last 5 years. That means we went from about $336,000 as a median home price all the way up to about $500,000 between 2020 and 2022, which is just wild. That's a huge jump in prices. So affordability is the biggest problem that Utah is facing right now. I will be very interested to see how we deal with it. There are only so many things you can do to change the affordability of homes, but the Salt Lake Board of Realtors put together some information on where you can find the most affordable homes. So let's take a look at that. So here we are at the Salt Lake Board of Realtors. They put this out for immediate release at the end of August. So it talks about how the Wasatch Front home prices have dipped, but homeowners have plenty of equity. You see that Salt Lake County medium single family home prices fell to $582,500 in Q2 of 2023, representing a 7% decline from $623,138 in Q2 of 2022. So it's definitely a nice little dip from the last quarter, but if you will go to my previous video about the prices of homes in Utah, you'll notice that year on year the differences are not quite so big. It's definitely a nice little decline in this year, but it's not a huge, because prices were up from where they had been last year, but it's not a huge change between the years. So homeowners still have lots of equity, and that's important for a lot of people because that usually is an indicator of whether there's going to be a bursting bubble or not. Lots of people with very low equity and adjustable rate mortgages and lots of inventory, because that's usually the thing that makes it really hard to get rid of your home when prices start coming down, is that there's just so many homes available. Right now, you could put your home on the market and get it sold pretty quickly. So here are the most affordable zip codes in the Wasatch Front. Recent data reveals that the most affordable single-family homes in the Wasatch Front region are in Salt Lake City's Glendale community. Are you surprised? Within the 84104 zip code area, in this neighborhood, the median single-family home price dropped to $381,000 in the second quarter of 2023, marking a 7% decrease from the previous year's median price of $409,000. So if you're looking to buy a home, Glendale might just be the place for you, because you can still get a home in the threes, generally speaking. It might be your starter home. It's going to be a home that maybe needs a little bit of work, and maybe it's a home that's a little bit smaller than you really want in the long run. But if you need to be in the Salt Lake area, Glendale is definitely probably the very best place for you. You know, just working around town and being an advisor for my real estate clients, I would say there are also some other areas. I mean, Glendale's the most affordable, but there are other areas you can be looking. You can look in Midvale, you can look in Murray a little bit, sometimes in West Valley City. There are definitely little pockets of affordability around. And when I say affordability, I'm talking more in the 4s rather than the 3s, which I know that's a crazy thing to say, but that's just where we are right now. If you don't need to be in the Salt Lake area, maybe you're going to South Ogden, where you can get a home for $400,000 or less, and that's down from 9% from last year. Roy, you can get a house for $410,000, which is down 8% from last year. Kearns 420, which is down 7%, and 420 for a home in West Valley, like I was just saying. So maybe Roy and West Valley are some of your places, but West Valley is down 4%. You'll notice that that's not down nearly so much, mostly because that's a suburb, I would say, of Salt Lake. And most people need to be in Salt Lake because that's where they work. So it keeps prices a little bit higher. The prices are a little bit more steady. So you'll notice that the areas where you can find the best deals are going to be at the edges of the places where most people live. If you can move to a less densely populated area, you can definitely find a more affordable home. And then it's really important that you are getting in touch with your real estate advisor, because a really good real estate advisor is going to be giving you a list of homes, and those homes will be coming from foreclosures and short sales and HUD homes and government-owned homes and pre-market homes and all sorts of different avenues, because the more options available, the better. One last thing that I want to cover here is that it talks about market time frame. It talks about how fast a home goes under contract, and it says we're up to 37 days, up from 14 days, just a year apart, and that is a very large difference. In terms of like proportionality, that's a huge difference. You know, when you're talking about 14 days, 37 days is a lot more. It's more than double the amount of days. But if you take a step back, maybe if you bought your home in the 80s or 90s and you remember, and then you tried to sell it in the 80s or 90s, you remember that a home took 3 or 6 months to sell. And in that situation, that being sort of a more balanced market, 3 months being kind of the average, even 37 days is pretty fast. So I think it's important to keep our wits about us when we're talking about these things, and really understand that even though the market has softened in Salt Lake City and Utah, it's not apocalypse. We're not seeing apocalypse. The sky is not falling. It's been something of a market correction rather than a huge shift in the market that's going to leave people holding the bag and really, really sorry that they bought a home. If you have questions about where to find affordable homes in Utah, Salt Lake City, West Valley, Kearns, wherever, reach out to me. I love hearing from you, and it's so fun to give people the best possible information so they can make the best possible decisions on their own behalf. I love hearing from you, and thank you so much for doing that. Please keep doing it.